Today's notes are on adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. To start, we're going to talk about adding. The first thing you're going to do is combine like terms. Remember that like terms means that they have the same variable and the same exponent. And you're going to do this either using the horizontal or the vertical method. Remember not to change the exponents or the variable when you add or subtract. You're just adding or subtracting the coefficients out front. Then put your answer in standard form, which is decreasing order by exponent. So let's look at both methods, both the vertical and the horizontal. So for the vertical method, it wants you to stack like terms. So I'm going to rewrite the first one. And when I rewrite the second polynomial, I'm going to line it up underneath the like term. So I'm going to put x cubed under x cubed, and the same thing for x squared my x's and my constants. So for this one, I'm going to move the -7 over in order to have the like terms and line up the fact that I'm missing the x in the first polynomial. You could also add 0 there if you don't like leaving a blank space. Then I'm going to add them together. So I get 2x to the 4th minus 9x cubed plus 18x squared minus 17x minus 6. For the horizontal method, you're just looking across and combining like terms. So I'm going to start by rewriting the problem. To make it easier on yourself, you can use some kind of marking, or you can cross them off as you go along to make sure you don't forget to include anything. So there's only one term with an x to the 4th power, so that's going to stay the same. However, there are two x cubes, so I'm going to combine those together. So we get -9x cubed. Then I'm going to add the x squareds together. So 6x squared and 12x squared gives me 18x squared. Then I'm going to look at anything with just an x. And there's only one of those. And lastly, I'm going to look at my constant terms, so my -7 and my +1, which gives me the -6. So as you can see, our first two methods give us the same answer. You can use whichever method you like best, the vertical or the horizontal method. Subtracting is very similar. The first step instead is to make sure that you distribute the -1 and change the symbol to a plus between the polynomials instead. It does not turn into multiplication just because you're distributing the negative, so make sure you don't forget the plus in between. Then go ahead and add them together and put your answer in standard form. So distributing the negative here, we get 7x to the fourth minus 3x cubed plus x squared minus 1 plus, and I'm going to distribute the negative, a negative 10x to the fourth minus 9x squared plus 3. And we're going to look at combining like terms, so I'm going to combine the x to the fourth together to get negative 3 x to the fourth. Then I'm going to look at any x cubes, so we get negative 12. Ooh, my mistake, this is an x squared, so there's only one x cubed, so that's going to stay the same, so negative 3x cubed. Now I can look at the x squareds. So 1 minus 9 gives us negative 8 x squared, and then we're left with the constants. Negative 1 plus 3 gives me a positive 2. Next, flip over the page. Let's look at multiplying polynomials. For multiplying, you have a couple different steps. The first is to distribute, remembering your exponent rules. Then you're going to combine like terms, and lastly put your answer in standard form. So for example 3, I'm distributing 4x squared to all of the terms, which gets me 12x to the fourth power plus 36x cubed minus 16x squared. For example 4, we're going to be distributing, because it's two binomials, you can use FOIL. So I'm going to distribute the first terms together and then the outer terms together to get 2x to the fifth minus 3x cubed. Then I'm going to distribute the inner two terms together and the last two terms. And combine like terms to get 2x to the fifth power minus 23x cubed plus 30x. And we're going to look at one more example together, and that's example 5. Example 6 and 7 you're going to try on your own. For example 5, I'm going to start by distributing negative 3x to everything. Then I'm going to distribute 2 to everything, and I'm going to line these up vertically so that I can add them together using the vertical method when I'm done. So I get 10x squared minus 12x plus 18. And we're going to add them together to get negative 15x cubed plus 28 x squared minus 39x plus 18. Please try example 6 and 7 on your own before class tomorrow. The last thing we're going to look at is classifying and naming polynomials by degree and number of terms. If it has a degree of 0, naming it by degree, it would be a constant. If it has a degree of 1, the polynomial is said to be linear. If it has a degree of 2, it is said to be quadratic. If it has a degree of 3, it is cubic. If it has a degree of 4, it's quartic. And 5 or above 4 degree, you're just going to say it is a 5th degree polynomial. In terms of number of terms, if it has 1 term, it is a monomial. If it has 2 terms, it's a binomial. If it has 3 terms, a trinomial. And then 4 or above is going to be a 4-term polynomial or a 5-term polynomial, and so on. We will talk about examples that you tried on your own tomorrow in class.